where Kenyans are now asking, how do we start talking about 2060 when we can't take our children to school, when we can't feed ourselves, when we've been told El Nino is coming and all you expect is that people will die? Can we have such conversations about a vision 2060 when we've not handled the basics in the society?
I think there is nothing essentially wrong with talking about Vision 2060. In fact, it is still a short-sighted vision. Mm-hmm. I would imagine that today, being the year 2026, we should even be talking about the year 2126 and come up with a vision of where we imagine this country should be 100 years from now, when perhaps only a handful of us who are alive today will still be around. Mm-hmm. That gives us an opportunity to plan without being selfish, without being self-focused. Mm-hmm. So there is essentially nothing wrong with that. For example, I think the Chinese are thinking 300 years ahead of now. They're thinking about how they are going to own the world. And you can see that they are instrumentally moving in and they are beginning to own the world. That in another 400-500 years' time, everybody in the world should be Chinese. Mm-hmm. That is visionary thinking, and they are setting up Confucius institutes in every university of North, mm-hmm. and sending their people all over the place. It's a good thing. Mm-hmm. Vision 2030, and there's a lot of correction to be made. Mm-hmm. Vision 2030 was, in fact, conceived under the KANU government in the days of Daniel Arap Moi, the last season of his rule, the years 1997 to the year 2002. That was when Kenya Vision 2030 was conceived. But it was shelved in the year 2003 after President Mwai Kibaki came to power. And it took 5 years for us to completely mess up relations among ourselves, much the same way we are doing now, along very destructive tribal lines. And when we started recovering from that folly in 2008, after the Kofi Annan process, among other things, we resurrected the Kenya Vision 2030, which was then swung back into the implementation phase under the Ministry of Planning. A secretariat was put in place. I think Wycliffe Oparanya was the minister in charge, and there was a good secretariat within the ministry, and there were certain projects which were dubbed Kenya Vision 2030 projects. But it was a very short-sighted project. If you are in the year 2010 and you are talking about Vision 2030, you must be very short-sighted. You need to be seeing a lot further, because how can you be talking about Vision 2030 and you are saying that you are even going to change the curriculum so that you are going to produce people who are going to take Kenya to Vision 2030, and you are starting in class 1, and these people are going to take 18 years in school. You are leaving them with about 8 years to come and then transform Kenya to that fast, very, very strong second world economy. And now you are talking of taking Kenya to Cambodia, Singapore, and to Vietnam within another 25, 35 years. It's another short-sighted vision. And to answer your question in a straightforward manner, it's because we have leaders who do not think organically. They think of themselves as God's gifts to the nation. They forget completely about the efforts of those who have been there. They think that if they implement that which was conceived by those who are there before them, they are diminished, they are minimized, and so they throw all that on board. But the present one thrives even within the space of confusion. Confusion because you have had better, it has been yours. You are not even thinking of coming back as a new president. It's the same president to continue with your programs. You have abandoned the programs that you had without attempting to audit them, to even tell us why you think you should migrate from them. You came up with a university funding model, which you are running away from. You are not telling us why. You came up with an ICT program. You told us you are going to build 100,000 kilometers
of road
of fiber optic. You are not telling us how many of those kilometers you have done and what the benefit is. You are telling us about tens of thousands of government services that have been digitalized, and we don't know what they are. If we tell you, give us the schedule of those 20,000 digitalized government services, you can't. You came up with a hustler fund, which has just disappeared in the Lorian swamp, like the river Uasoniro. So, in short, therefore, the present one seems to smack more of confusion than of migration from that which those who were there before started, because you are the one who was there before.